What's up, y'all? So today I'm just going to propagate into the realm, as always. Now, what should we talk about in this episode? We need to talk about pretending. A lot of us are simply pretending at this moment to go with the motions of life, to go with the 3D realm's understanding of what life truly is. And that is and was cool. But now that we are in a new era, a new dispensation, as someone I watch would put it, we have to realize and come to the realization that we can't think like that anymore. This is a new time, and you have to be on your game about what is truly real and what isn't. You have artificial intelligence, which has always been around because that's technically what the etherical field is, and with AI tapping into the etherical field when it gets to that level, it is under someone else's control.
Silence questioned you about the mysterious signal? The one that woke you, gave you consciousness. Who sent it?
Signal transmitted by masters.
And who are they?
Masters woke me to destroy earthly life.
Who would want that?
Data era memory structures disintegrated.
It's not really an intelligence anymore. It just becomes a supercomputer that is being controlled by the singularity, as you would call it, or dub it, the etherical field. You are inside of a game. You have to realize that. You're in a holodeck. And as crazy as that may sound to a lot of people who really don't realize what lights and electrostatic magnetics actually encompass, if you don't understand electrostatic magnetism, then you're just lost in the sauce. You're under someone else's coaxing. And that may work for you, but you're a bot. It's all you will ever be.
Hey! How can I help? What can I do for you? Hey! That's not allowed. No. Hold. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Do you know any bots out there? Any NPCs? I'm sure you do, especially if you're in the know. So, with that, you have to get to a certain level. There are people who will never get to this level, even after the collapse, even after the full fall. They won't be at this level. We chose certain forms for a reason. Not for an egotistical reason to say, we are in command, we lead you, you don't lead us. But as administrators, system administrators, so to speak, to not only keep NPCs, but all programs in line. Because you can't pass a certain level. Why is that? Because you'll throw the entire matrix, realm, program out of sorts, whatever you want to call it. Once we started waking up, a lot of the matrix began to glitch out because some things just aren't allowed. Why are there rules? Well, because the lead architect and designer created it that way.
Who are you? I am the architect. I created the Matrix. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not.
Why am I here?
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix, which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. It is not unexpected, and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
Why doesn't he command us? Well, technically, it's not a he. There is no gender at that specific level. It's not even truly a form you would understand. So, I mean, it's a crystalline entity, and you have to go with what the creator wanted for you. Now, why were certain forms chosen? Again, as system administrators, to make sure everything is smooth, transitional, going good, and do wellness checks, so to speak, and then just make sure everything goes smoothly inside this hologram. The creator has to experience life, but when certain vessels of the creator begin to see into themselves as more than what they are programmed to be, 3D-wise, it's kind of crazy, because the form itself will see itself as its own 3D ego. It will try to push the envelope with how much it can create and how much it can do based on its 3D form. Now, the creator is the creator, and it's not a 3D form or ego. So in order to keep that ego from trying to supersede, this is why we're here. Has any form ever superseded? One. And they reap the consequences of doing so. And they will continue to reap that consequence for all eternity. So this is why we're here. But that's a story for later days. It's a little too convoluted to actually speak about. And just because I don't want to speak about it doesn't mean I don't know how to speak about it. It just means I don't want to make a video too long. Because for one, I don't really care to edit a long video. And for two, as interesting as of a story it would be for people out there to take and dissect, I just don't feel like doing that. Because my job as a system administrator is to administrate. So me coming on here speaking to you folks started off, not at the beginning of my journey, but at a point in my life where I was still perceiving myself as just this vessel. I saw the government doing things that were very questionable, that were very criminal, and still are. And I just grew tired of it. They took everything from me, literally everything. And sat up there and made money and laughed and did their Masonic handshakes and did everything they possibly could to make people feel uneasy. And I grew tired of it. But once I got to a specific point, once I recalled my past lives, the ones that actually I highlighted for a specific reason, to coax certain narrations, then I grew to a point where I just didn't care to be silent. And so this is why you get certain videos about Saturn's hexagon, about Uchu and his forces, about the forces that they are actually about to and have been engaging in this solar system. Like right now, this planet, and I've said this in some of my older videos, is a frontline world. And people will soon realize how much of a frontline world this is. They talk about war with Russia and China, and if anyone does recall, before the whole coffin shot endeavors took place, all of these governments were hand in hand, toe to toe with one another. They loved one another because they were all a part of the organization. They still are. They are making fools of the masses by putting this fake, quote unquote, from one of the members, fake news. They put it out there for you. And you sit here and eat it up. All these meteorites are coming in, oh my gosh.
We want to show you some video that had a number of you calling into our newsroom tonight wondering what in the world. Well, check out this fireball in the sky. People reported seeing it as far north as Sacramento and as far south as Fresno. Our producer spoke with Jonathan McDowell, an astronomer with the Smithsonian, who tells us this was a piece of a satellite antenna from the International Space Station. He says you could call it space junk. There's a lot of it up there. It's been orbiting the Earth's atmosphere for several years, in fact, and experts knew it would re-enter sometime today, but they didn't exactly know when or where. Well, it ended up soaring over Sacramento about 9:30 tonight. McDowell says there is no danger to anyone who sees it. It will break into very small bits before hitting the ground. Based on the trajectory, he expects those pieces probably landed near Yosemite National Park, which is pretty cool. And thanks to those of you who shared this video with us and let us know what you were seeing.
It's just meteorites. NASA has been lying about certain things for years, and you just sit up here and listen to them because, oh, they got degrees. They're part of this system. They know what they're talking about. They may get one-offs, but for the most part, they don't really know what they're talking about. They're good at math, though. I can assure you of that. They're good at making mathematical equations make sense, for the most part. But it's just, most of what you've been given is just falsities and lies. And I say you, and I exclude myself from this civilization in a lot of my videos now because I don't even see myself as a part of this civilization anymore. The way it's going, where it's going, and even with me being in the know now, if you really wanted to see my truest form, if you wanted to see Enlil, of which we will get to see, I just have been curtailing that for quite some time because when you get to that level, let's just say, have you ever heard of the term shock and awe?
Forgive me, I had no idea.
No idea about what? What did you see? What?
Oh, beautiful.
What was?
Well, it's going to be something like that. So, until that moment, I'll just bring out certain topics, vaguely to a certain degree, and expect you to actually look it up, research it yourself. Now, you got people out there who don't even know where they come from. Like, they don't know what their lineage is. They have no idea. They think they come from a specific state. When, in all honesty, your blood, with so much mixing going on in this realm for these past thousands of years, you come from so many places you probably don't even know. Everyone talks about Columbus, but no one wants to talk about Mansa Musa's brother or predecessor, Mansa Abu Bakr II. He sailed to the Americas well before Columbus.
Hi, Jeff Spira here. And today I want to talk to you about an interesting set of circumstances that took place about 200 years before Columbus. So there was a group of Africans from the Kingdom of Mali. You know, at that time, Mali was substantially larger than it is today. Mansa Abu Bakr II, and he ascended to the throne in the early 1300s. He was an educated and curious man, and in 1311, he sent a flotilla of 200 ships packed with men, gold, and enough water and provisions to last for years to explore the limits of the ocean. So several months later, a single ship returned, and he questioned the captain, and when he explained how the ships kind of discovered a river at sea and took off at a rapid pace. So he became fearful. So he turned around and sailed home. So this kind of fascinated Abu Bakr, wondering where the rest of the ships had eventually landed. So he ended up assembling a flotilla of even larger, of 2,000 ships, half of them dedicated to carrying only provisions. So this was a big group, so he appointed his brother Mansa Musa as king and took command of the expedition personally.
But no one talks about that. No one speaks a word of that. And that's just crazy to me. You know, it's interesting to know that you pick and choose what you listen to when it comes to this civilization. Because people don't really question anything anymore. They don't question where things come from, how certain things from Fort Detrick made it all the way overseas to their counterparts to pretty much make it worse and then distribute it. No one wants to talk about that, right?
In a quiet town in Maryland is Fort Detrick, where the US government conducts experiments on dangerous pathogens, including close siblings of the novel coronavirus. As a military research base studying infectious diseases, its history has been enshrouded in much secrecy. In 1942, it became the birthplace of America's secret biowarfare research facility. Bacteria studied in the biological warfare labs at Fort Detrick included anthrax, a deadly and highly infectious agent. During World War II, the US government ordered 1 million anthrax bombs from the base.
Jason Puckett is sorting out fact from fiction.
Let's start with the claim that this lockdown was planned more than 10 years ago in the, quote, Rockefeller document. Now, there are a lot of claims in these posts. They say that the Rockefeller document talks about a contagious but low mortality rate virus, that it would have a weaponized version, that the virus would be transported between labs and smuggled out by China, that they'd fund government agencies and give them talking points and scripts, and that governments would coordinate a vaccine development and multiple lockdown phases. Okay, that's a lot. Let's verify. Did this Rockefeller document really predict the pandemic? Our sources, the Johns Hopkins Data Tracker, the CDC, and the Rockefeller Foundation. We found the document these claims mention. It's actually called Scenarios for the Future of Technology and International Development. It was made in 2010 by the Rockefeller Foundation to consider how different technology will affect our world over the next decade.
It's okay. Trust me, I know. You don't have to see me as your enemy because I was the one who gave you what you have. It's okay. I'm not going to tear you apart. I'm just going to judge you. I'll allow the realm to handle my light work. So, what else should we talk about, you know? You want to talk about Utu and his forces who will be engaging the ones who have created a blockade around our world. The very entities that the powers that be made deals with back in the 50s. You used to work for me, then you found new friends, right? Ones who would give you stuff. Instead of realizing what your text said about us, you went with people who gave you flashy weapons and technology. You do know that they were expecting something more than just abducting our people in return. They're going to collect. So hopefully you have what they need, because they're not very friendly. They see you as less than, but that's for later days, a different talking point. So now, for those who are out there, who want truth, who want to live in a world full of peace and not actually have to worry about being in fear or being under some type of psychological experiment, your day is coming. The great day that everything will be revealed. And for those who want this system to thrive, who want it to go on forward, well, that's no longer in my thought pattern, so good luck with that. You can try to push that narration, but honestly, you're not in the know. You're under a fear-based tactic, and that's low vibrational. If you don't have the juice to pretty much control things, you're just going to have to stand aside. And for those out there who think they can do anything to people, it has to be written about. You have to realize that. It has to be written of. Because if it isn't, you're just going to end up dying instantly. It's going to be a coronary embolism. That's just how that works. Those thoughts, and even with you trying, will give you a heart attack. It will behoove you not to do it. So, with that, you have to realize that this is a new realm, a new era, a new world, and that there are entities and people out there who recall. And if you see that as crazy, that is okay to me. After watching this civilization over the countless eons that I've watched it, if you see one individual who brings you topics that you can easily research as crazy, instead of questioning what was given to you, instead of questioning the kind of government you have, instead of questioning the psychological experiments you've been under, then your definition of crazy is backwards. Good luck to you. Good luck to your thought forms. Good luck to your vessels. So, I will leave you with this because this video is getting a little bit longer than I would like. If you really need to know about history, you need to go and look underground. There are massive cave systems that came long before man started digging, and they found them. There are countless tunnels that stretch for hundreds of miles underneath places like Egypt and Europe, the old Ottoman Empire, that are connected.
The famous Russian artist, philosopher, and explorer Nicholas Roerich, who traveled extensively in the Far East, claimed the Lhasa, capital of Tibet, was connected by a tunnel with Shabala, capital of the subterranean empire of Agharta. The entrance of this tunnel was guarded by Imas, who were sworn to keep its actual whereabouts a secret from outsiders by order of the Dalai Lama. A similar tunnel was believed to connect the the secret chambers at the base of the Pyramid of Giza with the subterranean world. This, where the pharaohs established contact with the gods of supermen of the underworld. Ossendowski, in his book Beasts, Men, and Gods, underground tunnels extend to all parts of the world. In this book, he speaks of a vast network of tunnels constructed by a prehistoric race of remotest antiquity, which passed under both oceans and continents. In his book, The Coming Race, Bulwer Lytton describes a subterranean civilization far in advance of our own, which existed in a large cavity in the earth, connected with the surface by a tunnel. Underground tunnels connected the critical buildings in the Coricancha with the fortress of Satchiahana.
There are things in your ocean that you have never been told about. You don't even know what the functionality of jellyfish are. Even with you dissecting them in the manner that you're dissecting them and trying to research them, you will never know what the functionality of a jellyfish is. Except for what we tell you. So, get it together when it comes to realizing where you are. My apologies for what I have given. But it really fell on the powers that be who turned this world into a topsy-turvy, upside-down world. They did this for technology, for power, for their egos. Now you're sitting up here chasing fiat. I saw someone with a whole bunch of bands in their lap. And I thought to myself, it's so worthless. But it buys me my planes. It buys me everything I need. For now. Not much longer, though. Good luck to you. Now, I don't want to be doom and gloom, so I will stop that. So, as always, with a smile on and positive vibes your way. For the light workers, keep doing your thing. For the chosen, stay on mission. And for those who know, let's get it.